Okay, on this page, page 74, we are going to practice the vocabulary about entertainment, cinema, shows, and theater. All right, we've got here two posters. Yeah. And here we have the first exercise. Read the posters and answer the questions. Very simple. What are they advertising? What events for? Where do they take place? You've got some vocabulary here, as I told you, which is in blue. Right? Newcomers, venue, stage, microphone, spotlight, script, monologue, sketches, scriptwriter, act, professionals, and amateur. You have to just classify it in different columns. Which words refer to people, which words refer to material, places, and equipment, and which ones to performances. When you finish doing exercise 2, let's move to exercise 3 and complete the questions with the words from the posters. Have you ever watched a live comedy? Which word would you write here? When you finish writing the words in the different gaps, you have to answer the questions. You know that here you've got some space for the answer. Next 4, you have to listen to radio interview and put the tips, pieces of advice, in the order that you hear them. Let's listen to it.
Unit 6, page 74, exercises 4 and 5.
So, I went to the doctor and explained that I got a terrible pain in my eye every time I drank a cup of tea. He told me to take the spoon out of the cup before drinking.
Oh dear. That was a young comedian who was participating in an open mic night at the Broadway Comedy Club last week. An open mic night is a show when members of the audience can get on stage and perform a short comedy act. It's an opportunity for newcomers to experience what it's like to be a professional comedian. Most people discover that it's not easy. So, what's the secret to being a good comedian? Chris Hancock teaches comedy classes once a week at the Western Comedy Club. I asked him whether he could give us a few tips.
A student asked me what the most important skill was for a comedian. I replied that it was the ability to make the audience like you. He also asked me if I made jokes about myself. I replied that there were two types of comedian: comedians who laugh at themselves and comedians who laugh at the world. I told him that it was important to decide which type of comedian he wanted to be. I nearly always laugh at myself, by the way.
Okay. And what other things do comedians need to decide?
Well, you need to decide what type of act to do. Are you going to do lots of short jokes, long monologues, or sketches?
So, when you've decided on the type of comedian you want to be and the details of your act, what next?
Your material, the script. Think carefully about your audience and what will make them laugh. Also, watch the news frequently so that your jokes are up to date. And don't tell jokes that insult groups of people. Insulting groups of people is never funny.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Okay, so now you have to say the tips in the order that you hear them. In exercise 5, it's just to listen to it again, so you can rewind and correct the mistakes. For example, the young comedian was taking part in a comedy class. That's not true. You have to correct that. The same with the other sentences.